Hey guys, I want to welcome you and let you know how great it is to have you here for the Greater Purpose Podcast.
What's up? Welcome to the Greater Purpose Podcast from the Cubs room. Got to get the silver EIB microphone in there. I do have the golden microphone.
Golden.
Wait, that's right.
I was admiring that.
Yeah, so the golden, this is from the Greater Purpose Men's Conference. It's actually the Greater Purpose of a Godly Man Men's Conference, which will be April 26th of this year in 2025. It's a Saturday. This was the first award ever, and it was given to me. I don't know why. I guess just because they felt sorry for me. No.
It was well deserved. That's why.
Well, I don't know, but anyway, okay, if you think so. But so now, here's the interesting thing. We have already chosen our winner for 2020, for the second year,
wow.
and we're not going to announce that until the men's conference.
Very nice.
So, but speaking of that.
So you're not giving it to me right now?
Well, I mean, you can have,
okay.
You want this? I mean, it's got my name on it, and you can take it home and explain to people what. No, you never know. You could be in the running. You just never know. Listen, a lot of really good, godly men out there. So, but I think you will agree with who we've chosen for this year. I think you will. I told Stephen Wright, my producer, who's not the empty producer's chair.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that before. I told him it should be him. He doesn't think it should be him. I think so. I said, well, okay.
Well, you didn't think that one should be you either.
That's true. Yeah. So some year it will be him, whether he likes it or not. Okay. But it's not this year. So that's the only clue that I'll give.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so you can listen. We need to put up some links, I guess, in the comments. We'll have the event page and everything else for the Greater Purpose Men's Conference. And I'll try to remember to put those in the comments. I'm working on all that stuff. And most of our sponsors are coming back this year, so that's great. We've had one.
Yes,
one of our, yeah, you did.
Committed.
He did commit. Yeah. So Jonathan Fletcher will be back on the brand new T-shirt we'll have this year. So we're having a car show in the morning. Did you know that part?
I didn't
you didn't know that. So it'll be a car show in the morning, and then we'll have a little lunchtime, and then we'll break off, and then we'll do our conference. So it's going to be kind of cool. So if you're a sponsor out there, listen, you're going to get double the coverage. We'll have some trophies. Sponsors will be mentioned and named throughout the entire event. There'll be flyers, everything. So they're going to get a little more coverage for your buck. Because I know how it is when you spend business money.
Yeah.
You want to get as much out of it as you can. Right. So I get it. So I know you guys are doing it for a good purpose. I get that. But that does help out. So, also, if you will, now, we've had some problems with my web company. So, if you go to www. You like that?
Yeah.
You can tell I was ready, right?
You're ready.
So, my show prep is like walking up the steps. That's my show prep. bwasap.com. Now, if you access that on a computer, it goes directly to where it's supposed to. But for some reason, the company that I'm with, Homestead, has done something with Cloudflare. And so the mobile site doesn't go there. It just shows up blank. It's just blank.
Oh, blank. Okay. Well, that's better than it could be.
So I sent them a friendly email. Emphasis on friendly. Not friendly. But I sent them a nice little email. I didn't say any bad words. Okay, but I just told them, do I need to switch companies? I can't even see. I mean, most people are going to do the mobile thing, right? So that kind of mess. So don't go there unless you're on a computer. But you can go to the other one, which I don't have here, the-greater-purpose.com. If you've watched enough podcasts, you've seen it. But it's the-greater-purpose.com. And I do have that on somewhere in here. So, but anyway, so if you guys will check that out, that'd be great. We appreciate you liking, supporting, commenting, sharing, all that good kind of stuff. And it's like I tell these guys, if you share the podcast, it's more effective than if I share it. So we hope that you're doing out there. So something a little different today. Jonathan Fletcher was our second podcast, I believe.
Wow.
Steve Jesperson was our first, and I believe you were the second one. Go back and check that. I might be wrong.
Yeah,
Second or third, somewhere in there.
But almost 2 years ago.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. Yeah, because we're coming up on the 100th episode here in a few weeks.
Major milestone.
Yeah, but back then we did do a couple of Zoom podcasts. Yeah. And then Paul Brentley, when he was here, as he was leaving, said, "Don't ever do Zoom again." So now you know why, though, right?
Yes, I agree. This is my first time in the room.
Yeah,
and it is a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah. So,
but you can't appreciate it
until you're here, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I think with the conversationalist type format that we have, I think that it kind of fits a little bit better if we don't Zoom. So we're not Zooming. We're no longer Zooming. Not that we don't like you Zoomers out there. We love you. But anyway, Jonathan, glad to have you here. Glad to have you back.
Glad to be
technically,
here. Yes.
But here for the first time in the Cubs room. Now, back before this, during your first podcast, you were not.
I wasn't anything.
Which is not true, because at the Register of Deeds office, which I went before you were elected. You were not, but you were very highly thought of.
I was an assistant, right?
He was an assistant, but from what I understood from everybody that spoke down there, this was the man to talk to anyway at the time. So anyway, he says he was nothing, but that's not true. But now he is officially the elected Register of Deeds. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And that was back in November.
Elected in November, took office in December.
There you go. So December, January, so you're just barely in it.
Just barely in it. It's been a couple of good months, almost.
Wait, yeah, you're pushing that second month here, right? So has it been what you thought it would be?
It has. There's been some things, been some challenges. I tell everybody I feel good because I haven't had to call Susan to bail me out of anything yet. Yeah. So that's been my true test.
Yeah.
But you really see how efficient or inefficient your government is when you're working in it, and especially when you work at such a high level. We have great people, excellent people that work in government, but just the scope and the size of how it is to serve so many people, it makes it very difficult to get things done sometimes. That has been a little bit of a challenge. But
Susan, the former Register of Deeds, who was a very great mentor for you.
She was,
you
it's
spoke
crazy.
highly of her before she went out.
I worked on her first campaign when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
And then 20 years later, I'm standing out there working for myself. So that was pretty cool. And she was there for 20 years as the elected Register of Deeds, and then 20 years before that working in the office. So almost 40 years total of service.
So almost a mirror if you make that 20 years, right? If you don't go for some other office or whatever.
We'll see.
That's what a real politician says. We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Where the Lord leads, we will go.
Where I said I'm not running for anything other than soil and water. I've said that from the beginning, and I mean that. So
I would, if you'd have asked me, 2 years ago, I would have never, 3 years ago at this point, I would have never guessed that I would be here.
Yeah.
So you never know what God will do.
Yeah. Now I would take an appointment.
Oh, okay.
I'm not running. I've worked on too many campaigns, and I've seen too much of it. Now yours was great. I mean, obviously, because you had a little bit. There wasn't as much dirty stuff going behind the scenes, right?
Yes, that is true.
Yeah,
and I'm very grateful for that. I certainly didn't agree with my opponent on a lot of things, but we got along well together, and we respected each other. Right. And I have a lot of respect for somebody that's willing to put their name out there like she did. And she worked hard. So many people go, they sign up, and they do nothing.
Right.
And she worked hard. She really, I think she really cared. And we had a good day.
That's admirable. Yeah, it is. Even if it's your opponent and you don't agree with them. Mm-hmm. I think some of the worst are the primaries, to be quite honest.
Oh, yeah. Those are hard. I'm very blessed that I did not have to go through that.
Yeah. Well, and don't be discouraged. If you feel you should run, then run. Pray about it. Let God direct you and guide you, and then run. But just remember, not everybody's going to be on your side. So
no, not everybody's going to be on your side, and you're not going to win them all.
Yeah, yeah. So that was a lot of things. But anyway, that's part of the reason I won't run for other stuff. I just don't want to. I mean, I might call somebody names or something. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't cuss. I would just. I like to expose the dirt on people. Only if it's legit. So, but anyway, having said all that, we're glad to have you in as a Register of Deeds. So, we talked about this a couple of minutes, not for very much. What the heck does the register of deeds do? I mean, what?
Well, nobody knows.
Okay, well, good. There you go. And we're going to keep it that way because he's not going to know.
I'm not going to reveal it.
I mean, as simply put, for somebody who's not very bright, what would be something that I would understand?
So the Register of Deeds has a lot of different responsibilities, but primarily what we deal with are birth certificates, death certificates, marriage licenses, military discharge records, and then property records.
Gotcha.
So we keep all of those. We make sure that they're safe, and then we make sure that you have access to them when you need them. So,
gotcha.
And we make sure that the right people have access to them. Of course, we also do passports.
I know you did passports.
That's fairly new. We've been doing that for a few years, and so we're trying to get more people in there. But we've actually been very busy with passports, so that's good. But we're way better than the post office.
I was going to say, I think you're more efficient. Yeah,
more efficient. Our people are nicer. I promise you, we have the best staff doing that.
Yeah. So can you guys not take over the DMV while you're at it? I mean,
well, I don't want that responsibility.
I mean, we could use some efficiency and pleasantries.
We need to get Chick-fil-A to take over the DMV.
That would be great.
That would fix it.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Yeah, having said that, this is funny because every time if I go somewhere else to a restaurant and I hear them, they say that. You can tell they came from Chick-fil-A. Yes. They'll say, we just happened this weekend.
We went last night to Chick-fil-A Belmont to get dinner, and we asked her for a couple of things and she didn't say it, and I was like, oh wow, hold on. And at the very end, my wife said thank you, and she said my pleasure. I'm glad you redeemed yourself because you were about to be reported.
Yeah. Have you seen the reel on that? There's a reel out there, or a TikTok or whatever it is, and it's hilarious. So it's this kid he's at the car and he said whatever, thank you, whatever, and he goes, oh wait, my pleasure, my pleasure. And he goes, have you? And this black car pulls up and these thugs jump out and they throw him in there. I said my pleasure, It's great. And then this other kid walks up at the end and so it takes over like that never happened. It's great. Yep. So it's kind of funny. But anyway, having said that, back to pleasantries and all that kind of stuff. All right, so get your passport at Register of Deeds. Don't go anywhere else. It's the best place. So what's the average cost? Or what does it cost? Is it one set fee?
Okay. It's not cheap. I mean, so for an adult, you're looking at $130 starting price, and then there's other fees that are associated with that. But you're looking at a couple $100. Yeah. And so it's not cheap, but they're good for 10 years for an adult, 5 years for a child. Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, if you got to go out of the country, it's worth.
Yeah, you got to have it.
Yeah. So
you don't have to have it to leave. You just have to have it to get back in. So.
Right. Okay. Now, I guess I didn't know that, just to get back. Okay, so you get on that plane flight, you ain't coming back.
That's right.
Wow.
Never see you again.
Hey, can we get some Hollywood flights? Sorry, I had nothing against, I mean, Los Angeles is going through some bad stuff right now. I didn't mean that detrimentally.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just talking about some of those people who said they wanted to leave the country.
They did say it.
So they can go ahead and go. They don't have to come back, right? No passports. What's the time frame on a passport offhand?
So right now you can get, with expedited processing, you're getting it back in 2 to 3 weeks. It's about 4 to 6 weeks on a regular processing, which is crazy because when I first started, we were looking at like 2 to 3 months.
Wow!
So it's been
plan ahead a couple of months.
Yeah, definitely. Back then it was plan ahead, but now people are getting them pretty quickly. So
that's cool.
It's been good.
Cool. Well, good. So now we know what the register.
They hired more people at the Department of State, I think. So they're trying them out now. So that's good.
Yeah, we need more government workers.
Of course, absolutely.
To do the job you're supposed to get them to do. Wait. Gotta love it. So let's talk about the godly presence, because that's what we're talking about, the greater purpose here when we're here. And of course it's a little bit different. What is your feeling going forward? I mean, I assume you guys pray together, you talk together about church stuff, ministry stuff, but do you think any of that's going to change with the new administration coming in? It looks like the DEI stuff is changing all over the country at this point and all that kind of stuff. Do you think that's going to matter with what you guys do?
I think we'll see some changes. We have very good leadership in our county,
right?
And so we don't have. I had a little bit of a snafu around Christmas time. I got a little bit of resistance because I put Merry Christmas on my Christmas card.
No.
Yeah. And then, but I kind of pushed back, and they're like, "Oh no, you're an elected official. You can do what you want." Well, you know.
Wow.
But you know, little things like that. Our county though we've got good leadership.
Yeah.
You know, they don't try to get in the way of things like that, and it's a balance for us because freedom of religion doesn't just include our religion. You know,
right.
we believe what we believe, and we want to be free to express that. Others need to be free to express that too.
Yeah.
And I think when it's kind of like the free market. When everybody's out there expressing their beliefs, the best and true belief is going to rise to the top.
Absolutely.
And so, I think we've got good stuff in our county. I don't know with President Trump. You know, he's only got 4 years now.
Yeah.
So it's not like, you know, your first time when you've got definite 4 years and another possible 4 years.
8,
It's like the last 4, and
we're
we'll
almost
see.
starting all over again.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how things happen from the top. But it doesn't always filter down the same.
Yeah. Well, but he's hitting it hard at the beginning here too. They're pushing a lot of stuff.
They're getting some work done.
Yeah, they are. So this is recorded on the Friday prior to the Monday of inauguration. So, but all the
very
confirmations.
Inauguration.
Yeah, I know, right? Are you going?
We are. As a matter of fact, I was on the phone just a little while ago switching up hotels. I don't know if you saw that they're
going
indoor. So a lot of people are canceling. So I was able to get a better hotel for my same rate. So that was good.
Now that surprises me. I thought people would still go regardless.
Some people are still going. I mean, we're still going.
But,
some people, you know, since you're not going to be able to actually see it and you're going to be watching on the screen,
right?
Why be there?
No,
some people are thinking. But he is supposed to come to the arena.
Yeah.
After that, so we'll see what's going to be.
Yeah, and this is the third time it'll be indoors, right?
I think so. Something like that.
I know Reagan's second.
I was.
I think it was Reagan's second, and then 19. Who was 19? Anyway, they were talking about it on Fox today. So you weren't alive there. Wait a minute. What year were you born?
1992.
Oh, gosh, I didn't think about that. That's right. Man. Boy, am I old. I feel old now.
I feel old many days. So
I'll bet you probably, with all the stuff you got to deal with in government work.
Yes.
Yeah. Another reason why I don't want any other elected position.
Well, and it's different for my position too than most elected officials. Most elected officials, they're working for themselves. They might have 1 or 2 assistants or something like that.
Yeah.
They don't have to go to their government job every day.
Yeah.
This is my everyday job. I've got 17 employees, so it's a full-time job, unlike most. So it's a totally different world.
Yeah,
but it's been good.
Yeah, because like congressmen or whatever, I guess probably even state congressmen go like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. A lot of them and come back. I mean,
and they have a lot. I know they
have sessions that are long,
and they work. You know, committee meetings and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I heard somebody complain about that the other day. How Congress gets paid so much for a 3-day work week.
Yeah.
But the reality is many of them are living up there while they're there because they have so much, you know, the real work is not done on the floor. It's done behind the scenes.
Right.
And, you know, they're having to invest a lot of time and energy into making that happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of it's done behind the scenes and a lot of people don't see the work that's done. So, but it's still not going to the same every day like you guys do.
Correct.
So and I don't want either.
And not responsible for as many staff members either.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. How many staff members?
So, including me, there's 17 in our office. Actually, Brandon Crump, we were talking about him earlier. I know he's one of your earlier guests.
Yeah.
His wife works in our office.
Oh, I know. I don't know that I knew that.
Yeah. So she just came a few months back. Actually, it hasn't been too long. She has a really great story. She came. I know he shared a little bit about it, but she came over from Cuba, her and her family.
Mm-hmm. So, oh wow, yeah.
They're working on her citizenship.
There you go.
So it's very
cool
story for her. So we're excited for her.
See, we don't have women on here. Otherwise, we could have her. So no, and the reason we don't have women, just tell it like it is. My executive producer. We have had that suggestion, you know, the women behind the godly men.
Yeah.
The godly women behind the godly men, whatever. And so, you know, we have some pretty good ideas about that. But the problem is, everybody has agreed that the very first one should be who?
Oh, Donna.
Exactly.
And she won't do it.
She won't do it.
Well, my wife, Kayla, she wouldn't do it.
She wouldn't do it?
No, doubt it.
Well,
I'll ask her.
Well, you know, if they were going to come in and tell that they're, because they brag about us, right?
Sure.
And so if they're going to brag about
if
us,
they were going to talk about us, they might would.
They could tell, but they could explain why they are the reason they brag. Right? No,
we'll see if we can get her in here.
Yeah, you might be able to talk her into. Yeah, you have some influence on her.
Next time I talk to her.
Okay.
What she needs to do.
All right, good. That sounds good. Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah.
It would be fun though. It'd be kind of neat because then there are some side stories and some backstories, some of their inspirational things, not necessarily about the man, but that tie into their relationships with us. So.
Everybody has a unique story, and that's what I love so much about the relationship with our God is that it is so individual, and He knows how to meet us how we need to be met, which is crazy to think about. We ought to be coming to Him on His terms, but He is so quick to run after us.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I tell people because I've said this on the podcast. I said it in men's ministries. I said it in groups where we're speaking about our relationship with Christ. I was an atheist till I was 26, and I believe I was running away from Him. He was there the whole time. It was when I turned around and decided to go to Him. Mm-hmm. He was already there.
Yep.
So absolutely, I agree with it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So He was waiting on me, saying, "Okay, dummy." I mean, He probably didn't say dummy. That's what I said. But whatever names God uses for people who don't listen to Him. But He was there for 26 years. He waited on me. Yeah. Protected me to that point. So absolutely, that relationship with Christ is amazingly different with everybody, I think. So, but it's neat stuff. So, let's switch gears a little bit. Ministry wise, what's going on ministry wise with you?
Well, I go to North Lake Assembly of God in Charlotte.
That's right. You did tell me you went to Charlotte. I'm like, why did you go to Charlotte?
So we started when I was in college. I went to UNC Charlotte. We lived here in Stanley. I lived with my mom and my brother here in Stanley. And grew up here. Love Stanley. So I went to UNC Charlotte, and we were going to a church in South Gastonia before, and we were transitioning away from that. Weren't really sure where to go. So we were looking for something that was kind of between Charlotte, where I was at school, and Stanley, where everybody was.
Gotcha.
And actually, Diane Price, Tyler, and Connor Price, they played baseball here growing up. So some of your people know.
They probably do.
Diane was a friend of ours, and she was going to our church at North Lake, and she invited us, and we went, and we loved it.
Wow.
And we've been there ever since.
From South Gastonia to North. Yeah. I mean, not South Gastonia. But that was what church was it?
Chapel Grove,
South Gastonia.
So South Gastonia.
Yeah. So because I go to South Gastonia Church of God.
Yes.
But
not far from there. A little bit even further south.
Wow. So so that's a little bit of
to North Charlotte. So,
yeah. So what's going on there? What's happening?
So we've got a lot going on. We've done some. Our church was built in the 80s.
Wow.
And so we've been working on doing some major renovations out there. And so we just. Talking about, and this is the multi-year project, but thinking about Nehemiah and talking about how, repairing the temple.
Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right.
And as we've started doing that, we've seen more people coming in. And so that's really what we've been working on, a lot of those things.
So they're seeing the work and they're drawing them.
I think to some degree, we're also being in Charlotte. There's such a huge international community, and I love our church because we have so many people from different nationalities from all over the place that come in. It's really cool.
Yeah,
being an Assembly of God church, Pentecostal, we attract a lot of people because of that too. So I'm on the board. Of course, I have to be on. I think I counted. I'm on 13 different boards.
Just at the church?
No.
Oh, okay. Other
so many different organizations. So I'm the vice chair of the board there.
How about that?
It sounds fancier than it really
is. That's okay.
But,
that's good.
But we love our church, and of course, Kayla and I got married there a couple of years ago. So.
Yeah.
But we've changed a lot since then, including the color of the carpet. So we should have waited like a year, and we would have had a totally new sanctuary to get married in.
Oh, you got married before the carpet change. Yeah. Okay. So nobody killed anybody over the color, the change of the color?
No, we had a couple of people that were. Oh yeah, we had a couple people that were because we changed the color of the carpet we switched from pews to chairs.
Ooh,
that was the big
yeah,
thing.
that would have been.
And there were some people who were not happy about it and complained about it for a long time. And we finally started doing some more things in that space where we were able to move the chairs around and stuff.
And they liked it.
And they finally realized, okay, this is maybe a little bit better than we thought it was going to be.
I gotcha. Well, you've been to South Gastonia.
Oh yeah, and you
know Adrian, too. So, but we didn't go to the chairs. But I don't think ours is really not. Ours is a sanctuary,
right?
It's not really adapted. But Adrian's done a really good job with the board, the elders, but trying to put all that together because that's a lot of work, and a lot of headache, and you don't make everybody happy, but
you never make
so happen. Right. Whew, yeah, I don't want to. That's another thing I don't want to be. I don't want to be a pastor. So cool. All right. So what is your pastor's name?
Bruce Johnson.
Bruce Johnson. Okay, cool.
And he lives in Greensboro.
What?
But they drive all the way to Charlotte.
Wow.
So it's a pretty interesting story. Our former pastor was moving on. He was moving to Indiana, and we were kind of in the search process. And the Assemblies of God told us you can have this person as your temporary pastor, but they absolutely cannot be your full-time pastor because we have hired them to be a temporary pastor all over. Mm-hmm. And so we were like, all right, we'll do our search. Well, fast forward, he's our permanent pastor. So finally they came back and said, you know what? God is telling us. So maybe we shouldn't have told him what to do. So it's been great though.
It's interesting to me how the different denominations go through their pastor selections.
Yes, it is. Yeah, because it's funny because the Catholics, they just pick where the person's going to go. Yeah. There's no decision. And there's some, benefit to that in some ways, but there's also some negative things to that too.
Well, and Methodists, I think, that they do 5 years and then they move.
And they're all.
They rotate. And I was at a church doing classes, and this pastor had been there longer than that. And I was like, how'd that? And he just somehow lucked out and got to stay there. But then, so he was there for 10 years and then gone. Wow. But not by choice. And they loved him. They thought he was great. So that one, nothing personal. Yeah. If you're a Lutheran, I mean Methodist, nothing personal. I just don't understand that one.
Yeah.
So,
there's benefits to it. If you can get stuck in a rut,
that's true too.
Point. Yeah. And so
because there are some pastors you want to get rid of. You can't get rid of them, right?
So there's some benefits.
No, I agree with that.
But I don't think there's a perfect answer. But we're very happy.
Yeah, that's cool.
I know you're very happy with your pastor.
Yeah. Adrian's been doing a great job. So. And though we're both Pentecostal, I will just admit right here, and I have before, I'm not a runner, a shouter, or a dancer. I might shout once in a while, but
I used to say the same thing.
I've been close,
Johnny Ziegler had me stepping over the pews one time.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So I love it. That was back in the Harvest Time Church.
Oh, there you go. Oh, yeah, Harvest Time. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So, well, I'm not saying I wouldn't be. I'm just saying that I'm not.
You never know.
Yeah, that's true. Listen, when the Holy Spirit moves you, you move.
If I've learned one thing about God, it's never to tell him what I am.
I agree.
I'm not going to do.
No,
find something else just to prove.
Well, okay. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not telling God that. I'm telling you.
Oh, okay, all right.
I am not telling because I have told God so I'm going to give you one of mine. I missed my moment one time because I was holding on to the back of the pew. And so if those of you who are not Pentecostal, you're not going to understand this. I come out of it. I was an atheist, then I was Baptist, Pentecostal, okay? And I call myself a non-denominational Christian. But anyway, some of you are not going to understand this. I'm holding on the back of the pew, and in my heart, in my soul, the Holy Spirit is telling me to run, okay? And there's no reason for me to run.
Yeah, but
and I'm like, no. In my mind, I'm arguing with myself. Donna has no idea what's going on. And I'm literally holding the back of the pew. It's actually chairs. And I'm not. There's no way. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to happen. In my mind, Pastor Joey Williams, he knows this. I told him this story. And he's up there preaching, and he stops right literally at that point. Wheels around and goes, somebody's supposed to be running right now. I didn't do it. I did not obey. Because I think in my mind I thought, but plus he didn't wait. Yeah. It was like he said it and he waited maybe 5 seconds at the most and said, well, if you're not going to get your blessing, then I am. And he dropped the mic and he ran.
Oh,
yep.
He didn't give you a chance.
No, he did not. So, and of course he didn't know it was me.
Right.
But I did.
Yeah.
And so I went and confessed and I've confessed to the Lord and the Holy Spirit, and I've said, listen, you ever tell me to run again, I'm going. And I've gone down to I go down to the altar, and I raise my hand. I do, shout the amens. I do that kind of stuff. But
here's the great thing about the grace of God is that now, you missed that.
Yeah.
But now you can tell that story.
Yeah.
And help someone else.
Oh, yeah. Listen, hey, do not doubt when the Holy Spirit's telling you to. If it's bark like a dog, I'm not going to agree with you on that one. I'm sorry. But listen,
but
and I'm a crier. I cry anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm in the choir. I'm crying. I'm in the pew. I'm crying. Whatever. But there have been a few times that I literally just went down the altar and just cried. I don't need anybody to lay hands on me.
Yeah.
I don't need anybody around me, and they knew it. There was nobody. And I've had time when people have done that.
Sure.
But then there's times when that's not what it is. It's just you and God. And so I've done that, and I knew that's what it was, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't because I was in pain. It wasn't because I needed a miracle. It was just because I was just worshiping God and loving God. And so that's, so God, I think, allows us to worship in different ways. Because we're not the same character, the same personality. So why would he make us worship exactly the same way?
Right.
In all circumstances. So, but if he tells you to run. So yeah,
whatever he tells you.
Do it. Yeah. Well, yeah. Make sure it's him telling you.
True.
Right? Yeah. So, all right. So we got to. Wow, this is great, man. This has been pretty cool. But we're gonna go one more thing here before we wrap up, and I'm gonna let you wrap up with anything you want to share. But because you have known my executive producer way longer than I have, right? So
I don't know. Way longer.
How old were you when you met her?
Oh, that executive producer.
Not my producer.
Okay.
Not my producer. Not Stephen. Right. My executive. My Donna Ward. My executive producer. Yeah.
Because we went to Harvest Time together.
Yeah.
And I think that must have been it. And that would have been like 2006.
Should I tell everybody that she changed your diapers?
No, I don't think.
Wasn't that far back?
I don't think that's accurate. At least if it is, I don't remember it, and nor would I. So you'd have to ask my mom.
2006. So you would have been.
So I was born in 92. So you can do 14? That by 14. Yeah.
Wow. So you were a little kid.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So I should get her on here to tell things about you.
You should. Yeah, she might. She might can. If she can remember back that far, good for her, because I can't remember much.
Well, because didn't she teach some of the classes?
I think she did. Yeah.
So she's a great and awesome woman. She's a great and godly woman, and you guys have had a connection for years. I didn't even know that. I think it was when you walked into Eggs Up. Where was it? We were having breakfast somewhere.
Yeah.
And of course, she already knew you. And she's like, "How do you know him?" Well, from the GOP, of course. So yeah. So well, anyway, anything you want to share along any ministry or personal or any things you want to inspire anybody about?
I wish I had some major inspirational thing to say. I mean, the biggest thing I can say is to just trust God and follow Him, like we've been talking about. You'd be amazed to see. I'm such a blessed person, and I'm not anybody special. I'm not super rich or wealthy or anything like that, but I consider myself very, very blessed.
Yeah.
And it's because first of all, because I had a good foundation in the church and a good relationship with Christ from a young age because of my mom.
Yep.
But it's just trusting in Him. And always trusting in Him. That's the other thing. Not just sometimes. If you're sometimes you're not really trusting. Always putting your trust in Him. Always following His lead. And man, He will just rock your world.
Yeah, He delivers.
Yeah,
right? So,
absolutely.
Yeah, and just remember, you ask Him the question, and He answers in His way.
Mm-hmm.
Could be yes, could be no, could be wait.
Yep. But you gotta listen.
But you gotta listen,
and you gotta obey.
Yeah, you obey, and He'll do the rest. So, but listen, thank you for being the godly man you are, representing Gaston County. We appreciate that. Like you said, we have some great godly men that have been through here that are representing us locally and even at the state level
and at the national level.
At the national level, yep. Pat Harrigan. We've got Donnie Loftus. We've got Travis has been on here. Travis Page. Robert King doing a great job with the GOP. His one term and one and done, I guess. I didn't know that. He said he did what he came to do. So
crazy.
Yeah.
I did 3.
Yeah,
so,
I know. That's what I thought. I just thought that was a natural thing. I thought you just kept going. So
most people aren't as crazy as I am,
yeah. So, but anyway, and I don't mean to leave anybody out because Ed Bogle, Gus Anthony, Chip, Cameron, Harrison. I mean, just so many guys have been through here. Holden, Clark have been through here that represent godly. That are godly representatives. Yeah.
I need to leave.
Yeah.
I don't want to be associated with that.
And he's a Cubs fan.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to go back and watch that.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. So, yeah, and I'm going to try to do something because our 100th episode is coming up.
Yes.
And so far, none of you guys have
I know.
Have
I
done
thought about that on the way here. I got something for you, though. I'll do something.
Okay. Trying to get some guys to do some clips about the Greater Purpose podcast for the 100th episode, but I can't get these guys to do anything.
We'll get you some stuff.
Okay. Yeah. But I do have, I mean, I got the screenshots from all the things and stuff, and I did have these guys send me pictures of some other stuff. I'm going to share that too. Did you get that message? Did you send that?
I don't know if I saw that message.
Yeah, we'll talk about that after.
Sorry.
Secret message.
Secret messages.
Right.
I get some. One thing they don't tell you when you become an elected official.
Yeah.
Your phone is blown up all the time.
Yeah.
And you're instantly late for everything.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
That's why you guys are always late for stuff.
Yes. It doesn't matter what it is, big, small. You're going to be like, now. Coincidentally, I was not late today, even though I told you I was going to be
even early. Yeah,
I was convinced. I just knew I'm going to be late, and I showed up a little early. So, yeah.
So okay, good. I won't hold it against assistant town manager of Stanley, Stephen Benton. So
no, don't hold it
he's
against
not. He's late because he has to be because
it is a requirement now.
Okay,
You have to be late.
Once you're in a particular position, you're just automatically late. Okay, I got it.
It's great.
I'm just kidding, by the way. He's not late all the time. I just thought I'd mention. But anyway, listen, Jonathan, thank you for being here. I appreciate you, what you do as a godly man. We appreciate you out there. We hope that something we've said has been at least interesting, if not inspiring, motivating, and encouraging. We hope that you will walk your greater purpose in a godly way and that Jesus Christ will show you that way. And we're praying for you to follow that path. Listen, come back again, subscribe, share, like, comment, all that good stuff. We can't do this without you. We wouldn't do this without you. Why would we? So
we might do it without you.
We might do it just for the fun of it, right? So we can watch it later, right? So, but thank you guys for being here. We appreciate your support, your love, and encouragement. God bless you, and have a great one. We'll see you next week.